So yeah, quite literally out of nowhere one day this week, well last week, Disney decides to just out of nowhere, everyone's clowning Disney, Wish was just such a bad movie, and now Disney hasn't announced really anything for this year for 2024. So we honestly thought they just wussied out and just decided to move on for 2025. But no, out of nowhere, Disney drops a bombshell with not only telling us that we're getting Moana 2 this November, we are getting Zootopia 2 in 2025, we are getting Toy Story 5 in 2026, and we're getting Frozen 3 in 2026. They wanted to shut everybody up. But now these are all sequels, and Moana 2 is coming out this year in November without nobody saying anything, which is absolutely insane. But at the same time, not surprising. Disney lately has had not the best 5 years. Since 2020, their films started going to streaming. 2021 had Encanto, which was a good movie, but in its box office performance, wasn't really the greatest. Yeah, it had great songs, but financially not that great. It was okay. Then Strange World came out, which was a total failure. They lost millions on that. And now we had Wish recently, which was no better than Strange World. Wish is only really around $200 million, and Disney thought Wish was going to reach the levels of Elemental, like 500 million and close to 600 million. But no, that was not the case. People are just tired of these Disney movies, and they're just not turning out that great critically or financially. So Disney was panicking. They really only had one more ace up their sleeve, and that was, well, you know it by now, but sequels. Now, you couldn't just throw out Frozen 3 immediately. You can't work animators to death like that, which it is still coming out. But what's another Disney movie they could do a sequel on? And then it was kind of obvious. Moana. I'm gonna be honest, Moana made quite a lot at the box office, and you could say, well, it didn't hit $1 billion. If you know how Moana does on Disney Plus, you would understand. Ever since Disney Plus launch, Moana has been the most popular movie on the entire streaming platform. It doesn't change, no one has topped it. It is the most re-watched movie on Disney Plus. So many kids rewatch it probably in classrooms, so many people rewatch that movie. Not just because it'll keep the kids entertained, just because it's a good movie, period. It is one of Disney's best in a while, and it just makes sense to make a sequel for that. And honestly, I wouldn't blame Disney on this one. Moana is a pretty good movie, but is the sequel necessary? Moana was a pretty good movie on its own, and honestly, that was a movie that was like, oh, that was great. I don't think it really needs a sequel. Maybe some little extra things could be added, like maybe shorts, maybe a little series. Nothing really much needs to be added. Then, Disney out of nowhere said, hey, we're making a Moana series. Cool, Moana's coming back, it's coming back to Disney Plus as a series. And I was a little worried at first that the series was going to have pretty bad animation, but no, Disney still stays up to quality with their TV shows. Because you have, obviously, Cars. That TV series looks really good for a Pixar show. Same goes for Monsters, Inc. And Disney follows suit with that as well. I wish a certain other company would follow suit with that too. But everything went pretty quiet for it. And then out of nowhere, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson dropped that Moana was getting a live-action movie on top of the series? Like, what was happening? I feel like Disney was just panicking. They needed something to bring in money. And then they saw how well Moana was doing. I was like, quick, we need to do a live-action movie. Then, that also faded into existence. It said it was coming out in 2025. But, out of nowhere, the Moana series got flipped on its head, and it was officially turned into a sequel. Now, this was a good move on them. It's a really popular movie. It's a really popular movie on streaming platforms. This is going to be the Disney movie that people show up to. Is the movie really necessary of a sequel? No, not really. The movie ended off pretty well, but if you know Disney, they love their sequels. Almost every Pixar sequel that came out in the last decade made close or made $1 billion. So, this was right up Disney's alley, and I'm gonna be honest, this movie's not gonna bomb. People are gonna show up to it. This is gonna be the one movie. The soundtrack for Moana goes so hard, even though there's people that's not returning, there's some that are staying, but people are gonna show up to this movie. Regardless of the quality, it's Moana. I think honestly Disney just thought this because they were running low on money pretty fast and realized that this was probably the best option because Wish, a bomb, Strange World, a bomb, Encanto, not the greatest box office, but it was a good movie, but not the greatest box office yet. So a sequel was inevitable for Disney, and Disney's just it's not even stopping there. They're releasing Zootopia 2, they're releasing Frozen 3, and Toy Story 5. And one thing I'm really excited to see is how Scraffless responds to this. He may have posted a video by now when this is dropping on a Monday, but if he did, I'm honestly really interested to see what he says about this. Because he was honestly pissed about the live-action movie being made, but this is a sequel. Could we see Tamatoa return? Maybe. But the plot synopsis for Moana, you could read it for yourself here, but it kinda seems like it's leaning into a Frozen 2 story plot point, which is a little worrisome, but I'll give the movie a chance. Hopefully it'll turn out good. I know it probably won't be as great as the first, but hopefully it's a decent moving stone for Disney right now, because they are not in a good position right now. But segueing into the next sequel that would be coming out next year is Zootopia 2. Now, is this sequel necessary? Maybe. This is a movie that was perfectly fine on its own. It was a hit everywhere. The movie made $1 billion, so obviously it was going to get a sequel eventually. It came out a really long time ago. It's also a really highly streamed movie, also on Disney+. Oh, this was inevitable to get a sequel. I haven't really run into someone that personally, hates to the core Zootopia. Yeah, you got the people that it's okay, some people dislike it, but no one really hates the movie. It was good, it had a good plot, it had good characters. This world could be explored. It ended on a nice note, but a sequel for this makes a little more sense than Moana. So, there's a lot of places that can go. Both Judy and Nick Wilde are both police officers. There's things you can do. You can introduce a new villain. The world can be explored a whole lot more than it did with the first movie. So, I'd say Zootopia kind of gets a pass on this one. And minor segment, not really getting too much into this, but 2026 has Frozen 3 and Toy Story 5. Those are the big juggernauts of each company. Pixar's juggernaut is Toy Story, Disney's juggernaut is Frozen, and it's kind of a repeat of what 2019 had. But Disney's all doing this for one reason. They need to get back on track with their box office. This has been a really embarrassing few years for Disney animation, and they need to become relevant again, because absolutely no one is really talking about what Disney has in store for the next couple of years, and this was the one thing they needed to do. But do I think these sequels are necessary? Moana, there's things to be explored, but they could really mess it up with a sequel if they don't do it right. Zootopia 2 has a lot of room to explore, so it's a sequel that, fine, I could see, even if it wasn't Disney, I could see studios turning that into a sequel, because it made $1 billion, it was a good movie, a lot of people stream it, it was gonna happen eventually. But what do you guys think? Do you think these sequels are even necessary? Do you think Disney's just simply doing this for a cash grab? Or there's room to explore with these worlds? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace out.